Hello and welcome to Sundry Sports for Friday, June 19th. We start with Cowboys Wire, brought to you by USA Today. Cowboys News, Zeke's COVID fallout, Lamb and Cooper run routes, Larry Allen made guys sit out. Slow news day, never in Cowboys Nation. The revelation of Ezekiel Elliott's COVID-19 diagnosis is still front and center, possibly casting the league's best laid plans. All right, we'll continue with that. For a full 2020 season in jeopardy. Elsewhere, well, why? It's supposed to only take 2 weeks for it to run its course. Elsewhere, more buzz from this week's naming of the all-decade team, more eager anticipation of CeeDee Lamb's Dallas debut, and more trade talk, albeit purely hypothetical, regarding Jamal Adams. Plus, we're looking at the regular season schedule game by game and the Cowboys roster in terms of positional battles and how Amari Cooper does what he does, with breakdown from the birthday boy himself. Oh, happy birthday, Amari Cooper. All that and more, including a history lesson about a forgotten football pioneer, and a story about how one Cowboys Hall of Famer caused a rash of phantom illnesses for his opponents, make up the Wednesday edition of News and Notes. Wednesday. Why is this from Wednesday, Cowboys Wire? Today is Friday. You couldn't do yesterday's? Cowboys News, Ezekiel Elliott's diagnosis refocuses the issues for the 2020 season. With Cowboys star running back Ezekiel Elliott testing positive for COVID-19, the NFL is being forced to reevaluate all plans heading into 2020. Seriously? NFL All-Decade. Best player on each NFC East team, every position. While several Cowboys were named to the worldwide leaders All-Decade squad, only one can earn the title of Best Cowboys Player of 2010 to 2019. Tyron Smith helped Dallas change their draft thought process with his success, and an argument can be made that he is on his way to a bronze bust in Kenton. Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb will lead opponents to slaughter. Our player profiles continue with an in-depth look at the team's first-round draft pick, the explosive wideout who will almost certainly be the foundation of the Cowboys offense in a short period of time. Cool. CeeDee Lamb is working out in a Dallas Cowboys helmet. This is not a drill. Play. Oh no! Play. Oh no! Play. Oh no! Oh no! Oh phooey. Let's try one more time. Can we refresh? Refresh. Oh, and now it's not loading. I messed it up. Come on. Okay, we'll go back. And we will do this. Now it loads. Try this one more time. Play. Oh, yes. Run, 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 run. Run, 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 run. There's more. I took the helmet off. Oh. 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 Cool. Dallas Cowboys, 6 matchups to look forward to in 2020. The Cowboys will have plenty of interesting one-on-one battles on their roster this season. Lucas Mashrin of the Landry Hat breaks down 6 of the best. Film Room. Exploring 3 fantasy player-for-player trades for the Cowboys, including a deal involving Jamal Adams. John Owning gets hypothetical, with help from the Twitterverse, and looks at a trio of possible one-for-one swaps. How would you feel about Tristan Hill for Raiders tight end Foster Moreau? Jordan Lewis for Bengals defensive end Carl Lawson? How about Lyle Collins for Jet safety Jamal Adams? Owning would bite on just 2 of them. Mailbag. Are people forgetting about Zerline? Don't be shocked if the veteran kicker, who's reuniting with his longtime special teams coordinator, ends being the top free agency upgrade of 2020. Zerline's numbers dipped last year, notes staff writer David Hellman, but he was ridiculously reliable for 7 years before that, and he was playing through injuries for most of 2019, a fact of which I'm sure John Fassel is very aware. Yeah, you know who else was ridiculously reliable for, I think, more than 7 years was Dan Bailey, and then his numbers dipped a little bit, and we dropped him. So, yeah. That, I don't put much stock in that. 105.3 The Fan, nosebleed seats show. Jerry Silence, Creighton pulling up, Cowboys Wire. Our own KD Drummond covers all the bases on this radio chat, ranging from the recent Romo versus Eli debate to COVID-19 and how it may or may not have reset expectations for Mike McCarthy's first year on the Dallas sidelines. NFL players might sport COVID-19 helmets this fall. What do you think? I think they look like motorcycle helmets. I think they don't look like football helmets. I think I don't like them. That's what I think. Cowboys assistant George Edwards to participate in NFL Coaching Summit. Senior defensive assistant coach George Edwards will participate in a virtual quarterback coaching summit hosted by the NFL and the Black College Football Hall of Fame. Glazers NFL offseason mailbag. Will Josh Allen lead the Bills to the playoffs? Scroll past the Buffalo forecast and there are 3 Cowboys items of interest from the NFL Insider. 1, Glazer says the Dallas front office will absolutely not let things with quarterback Dak Prescott reach the holdout stage. 2, he thinks the Cowboys will be a strong contender this year. And 3, he shares a few cool stories about Larry Allen, including how opposing defensive tackles routinely came down with a mysterious illness the very week they were set to square off against the massive Cowboys guard. Oh, that kind of illness. CBS Sports HQ. Top 10 NFL QBs right now, according to Sean J. Wagner, whoever that is. Mahomes, Jackson, Wilson, Breeze, Prescott, Watson, Stafford, Wentz, Brady, Roethlisberger. Prescott number 5? I'm not sure about that. Above Brady? Are these ranked? What? Do you just put Prescott above Brady? Like way above Brady? All those people are above Brady and Roethlisberger? And where is Aaron Rodgers? Yes, good question. Adam ranks 2020 record prediction for Cowboys. Going 1 game at a time, the network writer sees Dallas starting slow at 1-2, but finishing very strong, including a late December shocker to wrap up the NFC East title and claim the conference's number 2 postseason seed with a 12-4 record. Has giving out so many second chances been worth it for the Dallas Cowboys? Shh, Jay, be nice. John Machota looks at Jerry Jones's proclivity for taking on risky reclamation projects, from Alonzo Spellman and Adam Pac-Man Jones to Terrell Owens and Charles Haley. Some have worked out, others have not. It remains to be seen which category Aldon Smith will fall into. How to run the perfect routes with Cowboys wide receiver Amari Cooper. In an NFL Game Pass film session, Kurt Warner and Brian Baldinger sit down with the 4-time Pro Bowler for a clinical breakdown of how the wideout technician handles his business, both physically and mentally, on game day. NFL pioneer Fritz Pollard's life story more relevant than ever. There's no direct Cowboys connection per se, but the story of one of the NFL's first black players and its first black coach is a fascinating and important chapter that fans of every team should know about. Check out this preview of the NFL 360 deep dive into the groundbreaking life and career of Fritz Pollard. Coop. Happy birthday, Amari Cooper. But apparently this was from Wednesday, so not today. Going back. Cole Hikutini has chance of his lifetime, with Cowboys in 2020. For some NFL players, the path to their dream job is demanding yet straightforward. Play high school football, get recruited by big-name colleges, earn blah, blah, blah. Dak Prescott's deal, read that. Jets Jamal Adams requests permission to seek trade. The Jamal Adams to the Dallas Cowboys fire has once again been ignited. What started as a box of matches during the 2019 season has appeared ready to engulf the NFL. SiriusXM, listen at home, 4 months for free. Subscribe now. CBS Sports names Cooper 6th best wide receiver heading into 2020. So current wide receiver. Okay. 6th, yeah, okay. News, Elliott feeling well but not happy. Cowboys wide receiver, best trio in NFL. Blah, blah, blah. I read all of that yesterday, I think. Romo skipped. Yep. Fuckers. Cowboys news. Woods for 2020 Pro Bowl. DiNucci stock up. Uni watch. 105.3. Jerry Jones silence. Yeah. Cowboys Amari Cooper breaks down how he skillfully breaks down defenders. Breakdown of a breakdown. Okay, that's all. ESPN Daily. From ESPN. Good morning! This Sunday is Father's Day, and thus I would like to seize this opportunity to give a shout out to my dad, the guy who cultivated my love for sports and taught me at an early age that games are won and lost long before you step on the field. Also, if my brother's reading this, good luck topping that one, loser. Here's your ESPN Daily. Ha ha ha. Oh, Juneteenth. Today is Juneteenth. The day has come into the national discussion in the wake of George Floyd's death and the Black Lives Matter protests, as it has been declared a corporate holiday by many companies and sports teams. But the day has been honored for more than 150 years. For more on this, here's an excerpt from an essay written by Dr. Carrie Greenidge, interim director of the American Studies program at Tufts University for the Undefeated. Because my family lived and breathed in all aspects of Black history, I knew about Juneteenth. That it was celebrated by many Black folks, particularly in the South, to commemorate the day that Union General Gordon Granger stood on the balcony of Galveston's Ashton Villa to read aloud General Order No. 2, the formal announcement of the Emancipation Proclamation in Texas. I also knew that former slaves called the day Jubilee, a term used in the book of Leviticus to describe the moment at which Hebrew slaves and prisoners were freed in the land of Israel. Well, why can't they still call it that? That's a nicer name. Jubilee. I like that. I grew up around Black people steeped in Black radical and intellectual traditions, so I never assumed that Juneteenth marked the end of slavery. America's 2 centuries of racial slavery did not end until ratification of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution on December 6, 1865. I also learned from my Black Panther uncle that the 13th Amendment stated that slavery and involuntary servitude were unconstitutional except as punishment for a crime, a constitutional loophole that I studied more in-depth during graduate school when I decided to make a career out of writing about Blackness and all of its beauty and liabilities. Okay. In this moment of international racial... Okay. I understand how that is a loophole, but I'm just saying, if you just enforce things as they should be, I don't know. I just don't think that probably wasn't written to be a loophole. Anyway, in this moment of international racial reckoning, however, it is important to realize that much like the original celebrants in 1860s Texas, we are still at the beginning, not at the end of our fight for Black humanity, dignity, and justice. Oh, God. You have your humanity. You have your dignity. You have your justice. Look at the stats. There is no injustice. There isn't. The only injustice is the lies that you're telling your children. The only Hey, Max. The only injustice is the lies. Oh no, injustice, yes. The lies that you are feeding your children. That you are feeding everybody. And the lives that are lost because of those lies. That is the injustice. Go to The Undefeated to read the complete essay and more. Listen up. Pain, perseverance, and the promise of family. On the field, NFL wide receiver Marquise Goodwin is known for his game-breaking speed. The new Philadelphia Eagle is not only one of the fastest players in the NFL, but also a former Olympian in the long jump. What's less known is Marquise and his wife Morgan, a former collegiate sprinter and hurdler, work as advocates for parents who have suffered the loss of an infant. Oh. It's work that is rooted in the Goodwins' own personal journey of losing 3 children, one they've shared with rare openness. Oh. On today's episode of the ESPN Daily Podcast, Dave Fleming joins the show to reflect on the Goodwin story, which is also featured on this Sunday's episode of E60, and explain how it ultimately became a story of hope. Now, this is a good thing. I see this as a very good thing. Not really sports related, but a good thing. A good thing to promote family and having babies and fathers being part of the family. That's awesome. That's something that's needed. Things to care about, like father, like son. The thought of choosing the same profession as a parent makes me uneasy. Maybe that's why, rather than pursuing engineering or law, I went into sports. Yeah, that's gotta be why. I always imagine the pressure that accompanies such a life path is insurmountable. Then again, considering there have been 255 father-son combos in MLB history, maybe it's not so bad. But one thing is certain, it opens up both parties to endless comparisons. Comparisons that we went ahead and made for you in the name of Father's Day. From Clay and Cody Bellinger to Vladimir Guerrero Sr. and Jr., here's how current players stack up to dear old dad. Vladimir Guerrero. That's a cool combination of names. I don't know baseball, so no, I've never heard that name before. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. You know how one horrendous series finale was enough to make us all forget how incredibly awesome the majority of Game of Thrones was? No, not all of us. And I personally didn't have that big of a problem with it. Bring on the hate. Well, I sort of feel that way about 2020. This year has tried us so hard that it's tough to remember all the good stuff that came before it. I'm not saying that the 2010s were necessarily anything to write home about, but they did provide us with some awesome moments on the gridiron. You know, like that time, depending on who you were rooting for, the Patriots overcame a 28-3 deficit to win Super Bowl 51, or when Peyton Manning found new life and a Super Bowl ring with the Denver Broncos. There were also remarkable efforts off the field, such as when J.J. Watt used his social media clout to raise more than $41 million for Hurricane Harvey relief. For all the winners of the decade, there were also the ones who didn't fare well, like the entire Cleveland Browns organization, or anyone who drafted Doug Martin in fantasy. Before a new decade begins in the NFL this season, ESPN's NFL Nation reporters are looking back at the best and worst of the past 10 years, in addition to naming the top players of the decade for all 32 teams. You can check out ESPN's all-decade team by division. I have no interest in that, you fuckers. Meet the worst team in professional hockey. The Battle Creek Rumblebees. What? Rumblebees? Is that a typo? It's Rumblebees? I love that. Rumblebees. Rumblebees. The Battle Creek Rumblebees boast a 1-45-2 record. Oh my goodness, that's 1 win and 48 tries, good for a .021 win percentage. That brings the Federal Prospects Hockey League, FPHL, the lowest rung of professional hockey in the U.S. Rumblebees, I guess it's not a typo. Rumblebees to dead last in total games. Breaking news. NCAA bans championship events from being played in states where the Confederate flag has a prominent presence. That is despicable. Really. You are overstepping your bounds. Seriously. I hope, you know what I hope? I hope I know this is not going to happen, they're just going to capitulate, but it would be nice if whatever these states are would just break away and form their own organization, college football organization. But of course, it's not going to happen. They're just going to kowtow. They're going to bootlick. They're going to kiss ass. Rumblebees. To dead last in total games won out of all 120 teams that played professional hockey in North America during the 2019-20 season. The club, based in Battle Creek, Michigan, didn't just forfeit a bunch of games. Those stats are for real. You could either laugh or cry, said Shea Carey, a 31-year-old forward from Chicago who was with the Rumblebees from start to finish this season. I've done both. Rumblebees. At least they have a great name. Overheard. Is he really that damn good? Because every time I see him, he can't hit nothing. Ken Griffey Sr. to Ken Griffey Jr.'s mom, Alberta Griffey. Remember when? Oh, pardon me. I needed a drink of water. Remember when? Shield your eyes, Warriors fans. On this date in 2016, LeBron James, who put up a triple-double in Game 7, and the Cavaliers overcame a 3-1 deficit to 3-1 deficit to stun 73-win Golden State and win their first NBA title. You didn't have to be from Cleveland to understand the magnitude of the moment. Did I purchase a shirtless J.R. Smith t-shirt in the days that followed? Maybe. Shirtless? A shirtless t-shirt? Did you mean sleeveless? A sleeveless J.R. Smith t-shirt? Things to watch. The 2020 ESPYs are upon us. From Coach Jim Valvano's iconic acceptance speech for the Arthur Ashe Courage and Humanitarian Award, to the Banana Boat crew standing up for racial justice, to Peyton Manning's epic turn as host, never forget when he roasted an unamused Kevin Durant. The ESPYs have brought us countless moments of joy, laughter, and inspiration over the years. In light of the extraordinary acts of heroism and humanitarian aid happening around the world, the 2020 ESPYs, hosted by Sue Bird, Megan Rapinoe, and Russell Wilson, oh, that's gonna go well, will shift its customary focus from outstanding athletic achievement in order to further highlight narratives of service, perseverance, and courage from within the world of sports. You can watch it Sunday on ESPN at 9 p.m. Eastern Time or here. So, athletics, which is skill-based. What's the word? Oh, I found it. I found the word I was looking for. Meritocracy. Athletics is a meritocracy because you don't get far if you don't have if you don't have the best ability or you're not working to the best of your ability. So anyway, they want to trade that for virtue signaling. Okie dokie. Until next time, remember, while the glitz and glamour of athlete prom, the ESPY's red carpet, undoubtedly made for a fun viewing experience, the real purpose of the ESPYs has always been to give back. Since the inaugural ESPYs broadcast in 1993, ESPN and our fans have raised millions of dollars for cancer research. If you can, please give at v.org to help us continue to battle a disease that will affect 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women during their lifetimes. This has been your ESPN Daily for Friday, June 19th, 2020. Follow ESPN, blah, blah, blah. Very nice. Moving on. Yahoo Sports, read and react. Jets, Jamal Adams wants out. Will Cowboys step up? SEC calls on Mississippi to change its state flag. Yep, it does. Not only Mississippi now, just any state where a Confederate flag is prominent. Shocker. MLB players, owners back to bickering. Fauci warns football might not happen this year. Just stop listening to him. Honestly. He did his part. Everybody, he was listened to a little bit too much, in my opinion. I'm saying, yes, he did his part. I don't think he ever said, hey, everybody, just listen to me. His part was supposed to be that he gives his opinion, and then people listen to that, but, people listen to all the medical opinions and temper that with economics, common sense, other things to make ultimate decisions. But that didn't happen. People only listened to the medical people and did accordingly. That's not how it's supposed to be. Why Hard Knocks Los Angeles could be great. What is that? Why is this a picture of Kaepernick? Why the fuck are we still talking about Colin Kaepernick? This is seriously old. Literally old and figuratively old. By Jay Busby. A brief programming note before we begin. Starting next week, we're going to drop back to twice-a-week frequency for a short while as we await the return of our beloved sports. Are we talking about the newsletter? Our plan is to publish Tuesdays and Fridays with additional morning newsletters as stories warrant. Okay. Stay safe and we'll be back to 5 days a week before you know it. Good morning and welcome to another weekend in April. What? Max? No! Max, no! Oh, where was I? Good morning and welcome to another weekend in April? Is it April? Whatever, here we are. In what could be the most dramatic moments on HBO since that dude in the members-only jacket approached Tony Soprano's table, HBO is bringing us Hard Knocks in the midst of a pandemic. All too often, panic. In the midst of a panic. All too often, Hard Knocks, the weekly preseason series following an NFL team through training camp, is a series in search of a story. But this time around, 5 episodes won't be nearly enough. Start with the fact that this year we'll be following not one but 2 different teams, the Los Angeles Chargers and Rams. Hey, I typed Los Angeles Chargers without having to go back and delete San Diego first. Progress. Ha. They may not be the most dynamic teams in the NFL, but this year they won't need to be. Consider all the storylines at play. Football in the time of coronavirus. How will players deal with the need for precautions in every aspect of their camp life? What if a player tests positive during the series? How in the world do you maintain proper distance while playing football? I mean, we're gonna social distance, but we play football, Rams coach Sean McVay said in announcing the series. I mean, it's really hard for me to understand all this. I don't get it. I really don't. For someone as ultra-prepared as McVay to be this stymied, you know we're in murky territory. Football in the time of social change. Social change. The unrest consuming... What? Social change. The unrest consuming this country over the last few weeks won't have faded by the time training camp starts. What kinds of conversations will players and coaches have amongst themselves and with each other? Well, they should be having conversations about football. And strategy. And tact. And football. Will we see protests before preseason games if there are preseason games? And what if the Chargers carry through on one of the offseason's biggest rumors? Bringing Colin Kaepernick in for a look? The Chargers have long been mentioned as one of the teams interested in Kaepernick. They wouldn't even have to sign him. Just bring him into camp and boom, you've got must-watch TV for a nation fascinated to see if Kaepernick still got it. Football in the shadow of a new megastadium. The Rams and Chargers are set to occupy the $5 billion SoFi Stadium, slated to open in time for the 2020 season. The NFL and HBO have indicated that SoFi's ongoing construction will play a role in this season of Hard Knocks. What exactly does $5 billion look like? We're about to find out. And finally, there's the old favorite. Football, Hard Knocks, is at its best when it shows us the inner workings of a training camp. In this case, a rookie QB hoping to earn the starting job, a stud cornerback angling for a new contract, and 2 head coaches trying to fix what went wrong a year ago. Hard Knocks ain't football, but its arrival means football ain't far off. Eisenberg, are COVID-19 liability forms for athletes enforceable? Rohrbach, remembering Larry Johnson's magnificent 4-point play. Brown, baseball can't even agree on the meaning of agreement. So close and yet so far. These days, baseball's yanking us around worse than a season of This Is Us. Get it done, fellas. The last 24 hours in MLB negotiations recapped. Whoop. Sweet chin music. Thanks for reading today's issue of Read and React. Follow Yahoo Sports on social. Boom.